I like that though. We should start our episodes with that. Ah, shit.
Ah, shit.
Welcome to PHP Ugly.
Ah, shit. It's another show. All right. You ready?
Mm-hmm.
I got people calling me. Hold on. Where's my phone at? I hear it ringing.
All right, give me 1 second. I'll be right back. Hold on.
Yep. Tweet this out quick.
All right. Told my kids to shut up. They're playing a 4-player competitive Smash Brawl clone. They're all just screaming at the TV.
Okay. Recording. Yep. All right. You ready to go?
All right. Let's do it.
It's late Friday night. It's time to get ugly.
Woo!
Why are we recording Friday night? What happened?
What happened last night?
Yeah. Oh, we have a time difference, huh?
Are you asking me because you don't remember what you were doing last night?
No, I'm asking for the effect, for like the. Oh wait, I'm still wearing my glasses. Hold on. I got a reputation to uphold here.
Wouldn't want people thinking you're a nerd.
No, we're recording Friday night because I am on the East Coast. Well, I'm on the East Coast time zone. I'm actually in Louisville, Kentucky at Laracon. Laracon just wrapped up today, and there's a 3-hour time difference between Louisville and San Diego. So the normal 11:30 p.m. recording time that we do on Thursday night just wasn't going to fly.
Yeah.
We had to make some. So it's actually still pretty early for you, huh?
Yeah, it's 6 o'clock here.
Now I say that, but I got to meet a person while I'm out here. Guy Jacob Bennett, and he has a podcast. I got to look it up now because I can't remember. I'm way too intoxicated to remember anything.
Which is why we're recording at 9 instead of 12.
He has a podcast called North Meets South. So we think a 3-hour time difference is big. Him and his partner, who is, hold on 1 second. Shh, don't say anything. Michael, yeah.
Glasses on.
Anyways, his partner's in Australia, and they have like a 14-hour time difference.
Damn.
And they seem to be able to pull it. And here we are, chumps. We can't do a 3-hour time difference without.
Well, neither one of us wants to get drunk at 6 in the morning.
Or still be drunk at 6 in the morning. That's always an option.
That's true. Well, actually, I don't mind that too much.
So what have you been up to?
Oh boy, been working
Thomas.
away.
What have you been up to, Thomas?
Eric,
I learned this, that people who listen to podcasts want to be able to understand whose voices belong to who. So you're supposed to introduce people. Thomas.
Well, I'm not at all interested in our listeners.
Thomas, that's terrible. Thomas.
Eric, stop lying. They know that you're Thomas. Yeah, so I've been working hard here. Just finished up 2 meetups here in your absence.
2?
2.
Which 2?
Oh no! Yeah, you were there for the security one.
I was there for your North County. I had your back, bro.
Right. right? No, I'm just thinking of the next one where you're not going to be here.
No, I'm not going to be there for the next one either. I apologize.
We had it was a small group at the Laravel meetup,
Mhm.
but it was an excellent presentation, and it was a good, attentive group that was really picking up what was being put down there. So
I
it
watched
was
the live stream. I heard what you said, you bastard. But I did.
see,
I actually Melly. I watched the live stream once you guys got it working, and then once you sent out the right link, I watched the live stream. This is how hardcore I am. I then went back and watched the recording so I could see the beginning of the piece that I missed because you guys sent out the wrong stream.
right.
That's where
See,
I
I
thought,
hadn't anticipated that, so I had put in all my personal attacks on you in that first 5 minutes.
dick.
Yeah, but it all came together. It was a very nice meetup. Uh, John is still out with a baby.
Who? John?
John,
John?
and you're out there at Laracon.
I'm out at Laracon, but I'm still here for you. You see how that
You
rolls?
are still here for me.
I am disappointed I missed Norm's talk. It was the first time he presented, and I like to be there for first timers. It's always like I enjoy it. You never know when you're going to find that diamond in the rough, and it sounds like
Nope.
Norm might have been one of them.
It was a really good talk. He had his information all together, and he did something at the end of this talk which I was really happy about, which is that he was talking about Spark being deployed with Forge and how he was using Spark to see if it fit the needs of a client. And he got to the end of the presentation and basically broke down everything that he liked about Spark, everything that he didn't like about Spark, and what his end result was, which was that he ended up not going with Spark for his implementation because it just didn't fit what he needed.
Yeah, he
Uh,
did a really good job. I mean, you can tell he did a lot of homework and did a really good
yeah,
job of breaking everything down.
absolutely.
Yeah. So I've been out here at Laracon this week. I came out here on Tuesday. Um, they had workshops on Wednesday, and then so originally when Laracon was first announced, workshops were on Wednesday, and that was a separate thing. And then the
Right. You had
conference
to
is
pay
actually
separately for that.
yeah, but they quickly did away with that, and it all just became one big conference. It was, essentially, the conference ran Wednesday through Friday, except Wednesday was a little different format in the sense that the presenters had each presenter had the stage for like an hour and a half, as opposed to I think it's only like 30 or 45 minutes Wednesday and Thursday. So it was nice. It was a lot of information, a lot of time to sit there and ask questions. I think Wednesday was hands down my favorite day. Wednesday and Friday. Friday, I was hoping to find a break in the day because, I have clients. I have to address stuff. I have meetings I have to take. And I tell you what, Friday and Wednesday, there was just not a moment I wanted to walk away from the conference.
Hmm.
Thursday, I found a little time. I actually got some work done on Thursday, but this conference is just so chock full of great presenters. Even if I'll say the same thing that I said last year, even if you're not a Laravel developer and you're not a fan of the Laravel framework, even this year, there might have been a couple more Laravel specific talks. There was one today on eloquent models. Obviously, Taylor talked a lot about Laravel 5.3 on Tuesday. But there's so many good, just straight up PHP talks and some really good soft talks. I think my favorite talk might have been the talk today. I forget his name. I feel so bad. I need to look it up now. Hold on, we're gonna pause. I can get this because I want to make sure I
Well,
say his name. Hold
while
on,
you're doing
don't
that,
say it. No, because we got a flow going. Hold up. Hold up. Damn it! I should have this guy's name. This is why I can't drink because I can't remember his name. Can't remember his name.
Yeah, and you get all punchy.
Fuck me. Hold up. I can't see shit either. What the hell's this guy's name? He's the Broxworth guy. He always has the hot dog on his head. Hold up. For those of you watching the live stream, which is a total of, well, nobody. We're good.
Yeah, we're safe.
Hold on 1 second. I got to get this guy's name because I really want to make sure I mention
Adam
it.
Wathan?
No. How come I can't? Oh, here he is. Oh, fuck me. He doesn't have his real name here. I got to look it up on the Laracon site now. Be there 2 seconds. Hold up. I'm doing all this on my laptop, which you know how that is.
Michael Dendria?
Chuck Reeves. All right. Okay. All right, let's go again. In 3, 2, 1. And I think one of my favorite talks was a soft talk done by Chuck Reeves, who did a great presentation on practical software estimation. And as somebody who has to constantly give estimates to clients, we have a client who's very big on estimates, and he makes one of the I feel like one of the things Chuck reference is that certain clients will take estimates and then that becomes the timeline and they lose the definition of an estimate.
Right.
So you say you estimate something's going to take 8 hours. Well, they say, okay, this will take 8 hours. It's like, no, that's not what I said. I said that's an estimation of how much time it's going to take. And he talked a lot about the different practices on estimation and people who triple the time and people who do all this math to estimate correctly and how none of it's really a good approach. It was just a really good talk that hit home for a lot of the things that I'm struggling with as far as trying to figure out estimations for clients. So there were a couple of soft talks, but there weren't nearly as many soft talks as there were last year. There was a lot of technical talks this year, a lot.
Yeah. Taylor had mentioned that he was moving more towards a technical format for this year, and it sounds like really nailed it.
Yeah, he did. I mean, it was just such a good. This is still hands down one of my favorite one of my favorite conferences.
Well, you love the single track thing too, which Taylor said is sticking around. He likes the single track stuff, and I don't think it's going away anytime soon for Laracon.
Yeah, I definitely think that's what draws me to it the most. Is just that you're not going to miss anything. If you don't want to see a talk, that's fine. You don't need to see a talk. But if you're watching a talk, you're not missing another good talk. He did mention he's not sure if it's going to be back in Louisville next year.
Ooh.
Bring
it to San Diego.
That's what I keep telling him. He hinted around to West Coast. He talked about Vegas, which I don't think Vegas is a good fit. I would love to see him bring it out to San Diego. I guess Phoenix would be okay, but I don't think that would be a great fit. San Diego
Phoenix in the summer.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. San Diego is a fantastic place for this conference. He's got to bring it out there. At least try it. You're close enough to LA, but you're not having to put up with all the LA congestion. San Diego's perfect. It needs to come out to San Diego.
Although, as the SD Laravel showrunners, we're a little bit biased, but I agree.
This may be true, but nothing can be proven.
As an agoraphobe, it makes a lot of sense to move all the good conferences to San Diego.
Obviously, a couple of announcements came out. Laravel 5.3 was not released. He says he's going to hold on to it for a couple more weeks. It's just documentation he's working on, but he wasn't ready to release it. but he did talk about all the features and everything that's coming to 5.3 and some of the packages. Some of the more exciting packages was Scout, which is a package to integrate with full text search in an eloquent approach, which is, I mean, very, very promising.
Yeah, it's something I'm going to have to look at. I've done full text search on small sites, and simple solutions can work really well, but full text search on big sites, simple solutions can be devastating.
Right. And so this worked off a lot of drivers for services. I think Angola was the one that came out of the box. Everybody was asking about Elasticsearch, and he said there wasn't a driver currently for it, but I don't see that, like, yeah, in typical Laravel fashion, it's not difficult to write drivers. So I imagine somebody's going to write an Elasticsearch driver here in a couple of days.
Someone during the conference actually created a Git repo, an empty Git repo for Laravel Scout Elasticsearch.
Doesn't surprise me.
So yeah, we'll see it pretty soon, I think.
One of the other things that is built into to Laravel 5.3 is there's a new mail class. It's called Laravel Mailable. And it's just a matter of, instead of handling mail through a closure, it just makes sending mails a little cleaner. Yeah, I mean, that looked like it was going to be cool. There was a lot around Laravel notifications.
I love this feature. This to me is something that I've really been missing forever.
Oh, really? So what did you like about this?
Well, it sort of makes Bugsnag redundant.
I can see that, yeah.
Notifications seems like it's geared towards developers, not towards end users. So this is something that can send quick messages to a variety of different services like HipChat or Slack, things like that. And it just
SMS, email, yeah, exactly, yeah.
Right. You just call the notification method or facade and say, hey, I got to know about this when it happens, so tell me about it, and it'll find a way to tell you.
That's interesting that you think it's more for developers. Now that you say that, I can see it. All the examples he did were for like emails for like thanks for signing up or forgot password emails. I mean, those were the examples that he was given. But I see what you're saying. When you throw an exception, instead of sending it to Bugsnag, you just send it to whatever notification you want to send it to.
Right, or if you have throttling for user accounts and somebody hammers the throttle really hard, you want to be notified that something's going on.
Yeah,
that kind of thing.
Yeah, that's a really good use for that. It's a good call.
Yeah, it's I've always had trouble with having a simple way of notifying me of edge case behaviors, and notifications seems like you could just pop it anywhere where you might see an edge case and forget it until it hits you up. So I liked the notify system a lot. There's also a lot of directory structure changes, but I think we might have we covered that.
Yeah, we talked about that last week, and he kind of reiterated what we said in the sense that the directory structure change isn't really that big of a deal. They were empty directories if you never used them. He just removed them. So, yeah, I mean, that's there. We talked about it a little bit. It's not really that big of a deal.
Yeah, it's not a deal breaker by any means.
Yeah, I think the big one that was announced was Passport, which we were kind of speculating on what it could be last week. I suggested it might have to do with authentication, which turned out to be the case, but it's way better than I even thought. Passport is going to be a package that allows you to just spin up a OAuth 2 server in your application. I mean, it becomes a no-brainer. There becomes very little work to do with it.
Which is something that I sort of wish we had 2 months ago.
Yeah, I was thinking about that when I was watching. I'm like, damn it, I'm working on a project. I could have really used a heads up on this a couple months back. That
Yeah.
would be good to have. So, I'm really excited about that. I'm such a big fan of OAuth 2 and giving users that single sign-on across multiple applications. Um, I think we all work. We've all worked on various projects that where that would have been a nice to have, but maybe we didn't do it because we didn't feel like putting the work in for it, or somebody didn't want to pay for the work.
Yeah,
Now,
I mean, my mentality is I would like to like OAuth 2, but in its current state, just certain things are too annoying to get working.
oh,
So if a tool comes out that makes OAuth easier, then all the better.
I think this is going to be it. I mean, even it handles things like JWTs, and it's just going to be very, very. It looked very slick. I'm excited to see it.
So we do a lot of discussion about frameworks here, and one of the the big name in the PHP world, got quoted today as saying all frameworks suck. Rasmus Lerdorf.
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Rasmus Lerdorf was at a conference, and people asked him, "Well, what do you think about frameworks?" And he said, "Oh, they all suck. All of these frameworks suck." And then he went on to talk about which frameworks are good, and his first example was WordPress. And a lot of people are just sort of scratching their heads going, "What the hell are you talking about?" And he makes a really good point, which is that in these, I mean, this is a 4-minute video. It's really quick to watch. But his point is simply that a lot of the frameworks that are out there are designed for
General purpose.
big general purpose functionality. And what happens is people will take a big framework like Laravel, Symfony, Cake, whatever. They'll implement their whole system in it, and then they'll cut out all of the stuff that's slowing the system down that is designed for stuff that you'll never do. So if your site doesn't support users, why do you have OAuth support? His example was, if you're connecting to MySQL every single time there's a connection made, then why are you going through the logic of figuring out which database you should be connecting to every time a user calls your application? So, he mentioned sort of use-specific frameworks like WordPress or Drupal for CMS functionality, stuff like that. And it has created a lot of very good discussion, I think, about purpose-built frameworks that have, a wider functionality, or a more narrow functionality, that are designed to do one thing one way. And I think we might start seeing some frameworks that are configured, hard configured.
Yeah, and I guess in general, I can't say that he is wrong, but so the gist of it is, it doesn't make sense to use a general framework for a specific problem. But at the same time, you're not always addressing a specific problem. I mean, web applications, a lot of times in nature, are very general. Yeah, maybe you don't have user authentication for all of them, but the fact that user authentication is part of the framework and you're not using it really doesn't have any overhead. I'll be honest with you, I'm not a big Rasmus fan. I mean, you would think, being a PHP developer, I feel like I owe my career to him, and I'm happy with what he started. But the guy is a little arrogant for my taste.
He's perfectly arrogant for my taste. I just love it.
Yeah, I mean, he's stated several times in the past, "I'm not a PHP developer. I'm a C developer." It's like,
no, and he'll go out of his way to bash PHP, and he doesn't dance around it. He in the same video he says PHP is a scripting language. It should be treated like a scripting language, which is language that PHP people have been trying to get away from for a while.
So yeah, I mean, I appreciate what he says, and what he says has some merit, but he's not the end all be all of the conversation.
No, and that's why I think a quick 4-minute video is a great starting point for people to discuss it within the community. But he's not gonna.
Yeah, I just don't want it to turn into like framework bashing or any sort of bashing against any sort of platform. I mean, everybody's doing
Drama.
what they're doing, yeah. And I mean, while I was out here at Laracon, I actually got up to speed. I didn't realize that PHP FIG was still having drama.
Really? See, I didn't know that either.
Yeah, so we talked about it in a couple shows back. I don't recall exactly which one, but we talked about some drama that was going on PHP FIG, and I think for the most part, what it equated to was somebody was fudging some numbers on their packages, and they kind of got voted out of the FIG or something along that lines. I remember hearing about it. I'm like, okay, they're doing some housekeeping. They're trying to keep a certain level of integrity to the group. That's fine. What I heard this weekend, though, I mean, I guess you can say the names because it's all out there in the open. There's a very big thread going around about Paul Jones, and if you know of the man, he's an extremely bright, intelligent person. He's actually his big thing, and the part reason why he's part of the FIG is he's the author of the how do you even say it? The framework that isn't a framework. He has a bunch of libraries where if you bring them together, yes, they make up a framework, but it's designed to run as separate packages.
Okay.
I've seen him speak before. He's like, nobody questions his skill set, but I guess there's some within PHP FIG. If you read the if you're part of the mail threads, I guess there's some discussion about voting him out of the FIG. We had this mass exodus of people leaving, of frameworks leaving the FIG.
Yeah.
And Taylor publicly said, hey, I did not leave the FIG because of Paul Jones. That's not the reason Laravel left the FIG. But others, from my understanding of what was explained to me today, are very public about, yes, he is the reason we left. He's very difficult to work with. So I was surprised to hear that. I've never personally met Paul Jones. Like I said, I've only seen him speak. I follow him on Twitter. I follow some of his stuff. He does seem more on the abrasive side. He does seem very opinionated, but he does also seem to know what he's talking about, and I don't think that's ever come into question. I think the thing that's really come into question is how he handles the democracy of the FIG group, and I think that's the part that it's becoming difficult to keep the FIG as a democracy when he becomes involved with topics.
And from what I understand, correct me if I'm wrong, but there's a lot of the discussion about ousting him from FIG has to do with his personal stance on things political and things unrelated to the PHP development and community.
I can't correct you because I did not hear that. What do you know something I don't?
There was a post. Boy.
Take your time.
Yeah. So if you Google the term PHP FIG toxic member,
Oh,
yeah. That's the title of the discussion. It does take you to a conversation about Paul Jones writing about conservative topics. Yeah, I would generally think that the majority of of PHP developers fall on the liberal side of the political spectrum.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know why I think that. I just assume people are like me, I guess. But I do know that he falls into the conservative side of the spectrum, which a lot of people just hearing conservative opinions can see them as toxic, whether or not it's a controversial opinion of any kind. But yeah, there has been discussion about his effect, his personality, and his effect in his conversations outside of PHP on the FIG community.
Wow, that's disappointing. That's weird. Yeah, I think I found the same thread that you're referring to. So yeah, like Thomas said, just search PHP FIG toxic member, and it's one of the top Google results that it's pretty obvious the ones that it's referring to.
Yeah, and like you said, I've had no interaction with him. I think that if somebody has controversial opinions that are being brought up outside of the conversation at hand, then that's not an issue. You can't not work with somebody because of their opinions at home.
Right.
If there's an issue with things that are completely irrelevant being brought up within the community, then yeah, that's an issue that needs to be addressed. But you know how drama is. You know how drama spirals.
Yeah.
And that's why I sort of prefer to stay out of drama, generally speaking.
Yeah. So let's get back on a positive track here. I mentioned to you that I got to meet Jake Bennett, who was just a very charismatic person. I mean, he was very fun to talk to. He's very welcoming. The guy didn't know me from squat, and by the end of day 3, you think we'd been friends for a long time. But I also got to meet a couple other people that I'd really hoped to meet at the conference. One of them was Eric Burns, who's the host of the Laravel News podcast. That was fun to finally get to shake his hand, thank him for everything he's doing in the community. I got to I actually had a drink with the Jeremy Lim. I can't pronounce his last name. Limdum. He used to work for AWS. Huh?
Linsum?
No. Lindblon. He's running the Arizona. He's one of the organizers of the Arizona PHP group now. He used to work for AWS. He did a lot of the AWS PHP SDK. I seem to think he's involved with Guzzle as well. He was a very fun guy to talk. We sat down and he had a drink and talked. Him and the guy I was here with, Marcus, spoke a lot about development in some of the challenges they have in the education field. That was fun. So it was good. I am such a terrible person in social situations.
Yeah. No, it's
in social situations.
That too. Yeah.
I always.
It's hard to watch.
I don't. It is weird. You'd think as a community organizer for a couple of groups, I would be very outgoing, very easily, a very easy person to approach. I'm told I'm not an easy person to approach. I look very intimidating. I'm not outgoing. I like to hide in the corner.
Well, that's true.
Yeah.
I mean, not that you're good at the hiding part, but you do find a corner quickly.
I do. I do. And I just. But I was here with Marcus, one of the members from SDPHP and San Diego Laravel group, and a friend for a couple of years now, and he seems to always interact with people.
Yeah, he's a very gregarious guy.
Yeah, it was, and he's such a nice guy too. I mean, he's just he's a very pleasant person. So he was kind of my bridge to introduce to be introduced. That's how I got to meet Jake and a few other people from that crew. I think TJ and what's it, Dave, the MMA fighter. There's a whole crew of them, and I had Marcus to thank. But I actually had somebody come up to me and recognize me, and I was like,
Really?
yeah, it was so it was and I recognized her, but I didn't know if I had knew her from Twitter or if I knew her because I had seen her in conferences or something, and I was so embarrassed because she comes up to me and I'm like, I don't think I'm who you think I am. I'm like, who do you think I am? And she's like, no, you're Eric, right? Your show come on Twitter. I'm like, yeah, that's me. Yeah, it was great. So that's such a weird feeling. I'm so happy that people come up to me and introduce themselves because I don't do it, and I'm so terrible at it. I try to every time I go to a conference, I try to say, okay, I'm going to go up and say hello to this year. It was Eric Burns. I saw Eric Burns, and I'm like, I'm going to go up and I'm going to say hello to him. And if I never speak to the guy ever again, if he never remembers me, fine. But I'm going to go say hi to him because I should. Of course, I always try to get a picture with Taylor at the Laracon because it's just I like doing that. And Taylor actually walked up to me. I'm sitting in I was sitting in the auditorium the first day, and on a break, he's walking up, he sees me, he walks over and says, hey, how you doing? You made it out. I'm like, hey, yeah, I made it out. Thank you.
Could you please stop making that noise every time I talk? It's really distracting everybody.
Could you not snore up here because it's bothering everybody else? So, I'm sorry.
It's
It was a long flight.
It's not an acoustically dead area that you're in. It's going out through the whole group.
So
No.
it was weird. It was weird. Somebody came up. It's the second time that's happened to me, and I'm so happy people come up to me because I don't go up to people. Even if I look at them like I follow that person on Twitter, like Miko, I could have seen her. I'm like, I follow her on Twitter. I would have never approached her because I don't do that.
Yeah. So all I can imagine is you're sitting there at the bar, and your wife walks up and says, "Hey Eric, it's time to go. Come on, you've had enough." And you just go, "Hey, I don't think I'm the person you're looking for."
Who do you think I am?
No, you're Eric. You're Showcom. Come on, it's time to go home. Wow, you recognize me. I got recognized, guys. This lady recognizes me.
Yeah.
Just end up getting dragged off by the ear. I guess I'll go to her place now. Oh, see you guys.
I'm so getting laid tonight.
Fame, what are you gonna do? So I had my talk 2 weeks ago about security, and lo and behold, the next week after that, there's a fantastic article about PHP being broken, Pornhub being hacked, and bug bounties being earned. In this case, $20,000 worth of bug bounties.
So we should take this opportunity to clarify: you are a PHP developer. You did mention a couple shows back how you work in the adult industry, but
that's true.
Pornhub is not the adult industry. That is not the site you work for. So this does not directly involve anything you've done.
No, I didn't hack my own company's website and then ask them for money.
Well, you didn't hack any website, but more importantly, the website you work for wasn't hacked.
Correct. So this was an interesting story that really blew my mind. I mean, basically, two guys, Ruslan Habalov and Dario Weber. It looks like they saw a bug bounty that they wanted. They wanted this bug bounty, and so they just went after finding a bug in Pornhub's site as hard as they could. And this meant in some incredible work finding a potential buffer overflow with access to restricted memory space, tracking down custom compiled versions of PHP and determining what the start memory address was for unserialized data in an initiated session. And I mean, the amount of work that was put into this was absolutely insane. And yeah, for that work, they earned $20,000 and revealed some pretty surprising internals in PHP. So
Really?
there's their research led to 2 PHP bugs being generated, which I believe at this point are resolved before that they announced that they had done this.
Was this related to the HTTP, or actually, what would that be called? HTTP proxy issue earlier last week?
No, this was related to well, let's see. The technical description is breaking PHP's garbage collection and unserialize. So this is the way that garbage collection in PHP works, and creating arbitrary objects in to be executed on the server by passing in a class-like structure to a field that is serialized at some point. So
How
basically,
did they figure this out? How the hell
so
did people figure this out?
so imagine this. Imagine this is a gross oversimplification for all of our listeners. But imagine that you could get unserialized to create an object instead of an array, right?
Mm-hmm.
So what you do is you pass in the structure of an object that has methods in it that would get called on the instantiation of the object that would access code that is in potentially protected space and start accessing variables that are supposed to be protected from garbage collection sequences and dumping that data out to the user. So it's almost an arbitrary code execution vulnerability. But what it ended up doing is dumping out arbitrary memory spaces. So they could just say, once this was properly developed, they could just say, yeah, give me all the contents of memory address X, and it would just dump it out to them.
And what
And
can they do with that?
whatever they want.
Yeah.
They get the full compiled version of PHP that's running, as well as all the code that's being executed. So they have access to essentially everything that they would ever need.
Wow.
It's like having access to the server in the PHP application's user space.
Wow. That's crazy.
Yeah. So they were able to achieve some pretty insane stuff. The article reads pretty easily for about let's call it 10 paragraphs, but then it goes technical in a way that I can't even begin to read.
And what versions of is it specific to certain versions of PHP?
Amazingly enough, the version of PHP that was being run was a custom compiled version that had been modified by the team at Pornhub, and I believe
But
it is now a resolved issue. I think they've pushed out a patch.
yeah, but I was about to say the compiled version wasn't what made the vulnerability, right? Otherwise, this is not a non-story at that point.
Right. No, this was a vulnerability in the source code of PHP. So this was any version compiled previous to 5.536, I believe.
Wow.
And they were able to produce a vulnerability in 7, I believe.
Dope. That's not good.
But it's crazy stuff. I mean, I will have the link in the show notes because it is a hell of a story. But paragraphs with titles like leaking interesting PHP binary segments, or preparing the ROP payload, taking over the instruction pointer. Stuff that as PHP developers we don't have to worry about, but the internals people have a fairly good grasp on. And yeah, the end results are pretty amazing. But I think the lesson here is that no matter what version of PHP you're running, don't prepare yourself against being hacked alone. Prepare yourself for the eventuality of being hacked. Make sure that your data is being stored securely.
I think that extends past PHP. I think that's every language.
Yeah.
It's interesting to find how Pornhub is using PHP though.
Yeah. Well, the reward here for them was $20,000, which in the black market for hacks of this type, $20,000 is less than they could have made by not going public.
Mm-hmm.
But it is money that is legitimately made, and it rivals the amount of money the black market would have given them over time.
Right.
So, I mean, the bug bounty system has definitely proven its worth here, because without it, there's no way of knowing if this exploit had been found previously by black hat hackers. All we know now is that it's fixed in future versions.
Uh-oh, I lost you.
I hear you, but I lost your video.
Okay, you're back.
There we go.
Okay, so should we move on?
We should move on. What do we have? We have my next talk that I want to do.
I'd say I think you mentioned this to me on Slack today.
I did.
I wanted you to do a talk about this. I didn't. I wasn't sure if I should have been offended or what.
A little of both. So one of my favorite articles or types of articles to read is, "Hey, you use Composer, right? Do you understand it?" Because there's a lot of tools out there that we use very purpose built. We use Composer for.
We use it with a very limited scope, yeah.
Right, and there is functionality in there that's very, very useful that if you didn't know was there, you just would never have the opportunity to use.
Okay.
So I want to do a series of talks or articles about these kinds of tools that, Composer, Gulp, and Guzzle.
I think you should rename it, because I mean the working title you have now is tools I use but don't fully understand. I don't think it's a matter of fully understanding. It's just like tools you use, but did you know it could do this? That's how I am with Git a lot. I use Git every day, but I use it in a very limited scope, and it serves its purpose. And then I read articles where I'm like, holy crap, I didn't realize I could do that in Git. And it's not really a matter of, because a lot of these tools are so big and they're constantly evolving. I mean, they get features added to them that weren't originally there when you started using it. So it's not a matter of understanding. It's just a matter of, hey, here's a feature that a lot of people don't use in Git or in Composer that maybe you should be aware of.
Yeah, with Git on Wednesday, I was talking to somebody about how to use rebasing, and during that conversation, two other people heard, "Oh, Git rebase. You know how to use Git rebase? What? Mm-hmm. Tell me more. Tell me more." There's these features that people hear about, but they're scary things. With Git especially.
Rebase is a perfect example for me. It's like rebase, merge, and pull. I have trouble differentiating between when I should be using which one. And I know you've explained it to me, Thomas, a couple times. John has explained it to me. And I always find myself falling back to what I'm comfortable with, which is just the Git pull.
Right.
But Yeah, that's the perfect example. Now that would be an example of I'm aware of it and I don't fully understand it. So yeah, I'm with you on that one. You kept mentioning Composer though. Did you come across a new feature in Composer?
I came across a great article called "Composer: What You Should Know,"
Ah,
and it
what should I
discusses
know?
well, it discusses the differences between starting a project and installing a project. Um, it also discusses how you should use adding a package to your project, um, and why you should or should not use globally installed Composer packages. Uh,
Okay.
and it and it also discusses the sort of other side of it when you're generating your own package. How do you use Composer to tag and build a project?
Hmm, interesting.
So, Composer is a valuable tool that we basically have to use. I mean, we have no choice in using Composer at this point. Uh,
But yeah, if you want to be a productive PHP
if
developer,
you
yeah,
want to get work
Composer.
done, uh,
Yeah.
but it also has functions besides just the ones that we use it for that could be very, very helpful. And there's just caveats you should know as well. I know a lot of people uh, don't use Composer when they're deploying to their production systems. They wrap the whole vendor directory up and push it along with their source code
I
because
see that.
that
Yeah.
that assures that your production system will get all the code and it will be exactly as you saw it on your staging system.
Yeah.
Um, and there's a lot of evidence that you shouldn't be using Git in any way on your production machines, because a Git directory divulges a lot of information that could be accessed insecurely.
As I believe you outlined in your talk.
Terrifyingly so, yes.
Cool.
So, so
So,
yeah, I think
that's the
that's
talk you're looking to put together. What's the story with that? Who are you gonna rope into doing that one? Because
oh boy, I'm trying the whole rope a dope thing, but no one's taking the bait.
nobody's taking it, huh?
Yeah, yeah. I'm running the North County Meetup now, and uh, unfortunately, at this point, we have what 2.5 weeks out, and the topic is still TBD. I don't have a good means to issue a call for
I,
speakers. I think,
I'm telling you, it's hard. It's hard to get presenters. Uh,
yeah,
well, you can use the meetup to send out a notice saying, "Hey, who wants to talk?"
I want to do that, but at the same time, I don't want one person responding with something that I think isn't a good fit for the meetup.
Yeah, but I mean, you can still put it out there. You've got a good little couple of week or a couple of meetings going where you've had a big turnout.
Yeah,
So,
we've had some great turnouts.
yeah.
And since I'm going to be giving away a PHP Storm license for the next meetup, I think I can sucker in a few people just on that bait.
Yeah, I don't know how big of a draw that is, but you can give it a try. I would
Free,
send out
free
a
stuff's
notice.
always a draw.
I would send out a notice over Meetup though. Couldn't hurt.
Yeah, I think I am. I think I'm going to issue a call for speakers because I'd like to line up a few months of stuff. Uh,
It's so much less stressful I know I have the next SDP. So John, let me do that again. It's so much less stressful when you do that. John has been out for the past week, and he's going to be out for probably the next couple of weeks as far as the community stuff goes, SDPHP specifically. And fortunately, I've lined up the next couple of months of presenters, and it's just such a relief not to have to scramble and try to find somebody to talk. And
yeah,
yeah, for sure.
yeah. So I think I'm gonna write some presentations and just put them on the backlog so that I have them in case there's ever any issues.
No, it's a good
Um,
idea too. Yeah.
I have one for the Laravel meetup now, So if we ever run short on something or a presenter drops out, I can just jump in and do a presentation real quick.
Yeah.
Um,
And actually, when you had mentioned that, that's what I was thinking. I'm like, okay, what presentation could I recycle that I haven't done in North County? And then I looked, and that's when I realized, oh yeah, I'm not going to be in town for North County, so
yeah.
can't really do it for him.
So you're screwing me two ways.
Gosh, I'm just, the family wants their vacation time. It's like, oh God, really? All right, man. Well, it's late. It's late in Louisville, Kentucky. As you can see,
Yeah,
look, it's gotten dark.
it's been nice watching the sunset behind you there. That's pretty.
Yeah, it's still light where you're at, right? It's
Yeah,
only what time is it? 7 o'clock?
this feels like a modern remake of You've Got Mail.
All right. Well, I'm going to call this a show. I'm glad we got an opportunity to record it. I am going to have to hustle to edit this one together. Fortunately, it was a pretty good show. So I'm hoping there's not a lot of hope.
Yeah, John's absence has really added a flavor that was missing, or removed a flavor that was present. I don't know which one it is.
That bitter taste in the back of your mouth. Yeah, yeah.
Are we done yet, guys? We're done.
I gotta go to bed.
Ugh.
All right, man. Well, thanks for accommodating my crazy schedule out here. And
Hey, my pleasure. I'm gonna finish off my second beer here and take a nap.
all right, man. I'll talk to you later.
When's your flight back in? What do you?
I fly out tomorrow late. So I'm actually spending the day in Louisville tomorrow. I'm going to go check out the Louisville Slugger Museum, which is the baseball bat museum that they have here.
Yeah.
I don't fly out until 7 o'clock at night, and I get back in San Diego like 10:30, 11 o'clock.
You went to the Muhammad Ali Museum that's right next to the venue, right?
No, I walked past it. I almost slipped in there to yesterday, but ended up not going in there.
I thought you had gone there last year. Maybe that was someone else.
No, yeah, it wasn't me.
Well, yeah, I'm definitely next time. Nick, what's the next event you're going to?
Dude, you've got to come out here next year, man.
I know.
I'm so disappointed you didn't come out here with me.
I am too. I've just been too.
I don't have any next event. This is it for me. I'm not doing anything else. I kind of want to do PHP World, but I really can't justify the expense and the time. This really, when you're trying to run a company and you've got so many people depending on you, it's really tough to take time away. It's been a real struggle to be at this conference. If I do another one, there is PHP Northwest that's happening in September, and it's going to actually be over the weekend. I might try to slip up for that just because Diego Dev, we have a developer up there who I think it'd be a nice excuse to get up there and hang out with him. But I'm not totally planning on that. So I think this is it. I think this is my only conference right now that I really want to try to make an effort to get to.
So you're not gonna make it to PHP Con China?
No.
Hmm.
No, Bangladesh.
Not this year.
PHP Bangladesh, PHP Australia. All of those. Probably going to pass on all those.
Oh yeah.
I know there are people in the community that seems to be all they do is go from conference to conference, but nah. I got a family. I got things that need to be done. I got real work that has to get done.
I wonder if there's money in that conference hopping.
I'm sure there is. Especially now, I heard. See, we're extending the show.
Yeah.
I already said we're finishing up, and now we're extending it.
I'm sorry, this is all on me.
But I hear we actually do something that a lot of other conferences don't do, in the sense that it's pretty common at PHP conferences that presenters get comped hotels, sometimes even travel, food, all that other stuff. And like the Rails, I hear people from Rails conferences, they're like, yeah, that never happens. If you want to present, I mean, they might comp you the conference fees sometimes, but hotel and travel will totally be on you.
We'll have to figure that out for SD PHP Con.
Yeah, well, I'm telling you,
whenever we get that together.
Laracon 2017 needs to be in San Diego. We need to start a petition. What are the online petitions now?
I don't know.
We need to start a Kickstarter. We can start an Indiegogo. Bring Laracon 2017.
No, I just check whatever's on Facebook. That's like every other page I see some petition to sign something on Facebook. So whatever they're using now.
All right, man.
All right, buddy.
This time I'm starting the music. It's been an ugly night, and I got things to.
It's only getting ugly.
That's right. I'll talk to you later.
All right. Bye.
I'm Eric Van Johnson.
I'm Tom Rideout.
I'm Becky Rideout.
Peace.
Peace.
Peace. What the fuck?
Peace among worlds.
All right, I'm stopping my recording.
I taught them all that this means peace among worlds.
Okay.